Hello, welcome to Film Worldview, where we don't review the movies, we discuss the themes and worldview that the film presents to its audience. And today we'll be taking a look at Avatar 2. As far as the themes of Avatar, there's two prevalent themes. The first theme is adapting to culture. What Avatar does to show this theme is you have the Solis, who move from being air people to water people. They decide to not forcefully force their own culture onto the water people. They decide to take the route of trying to learn what the water people do. They try to embrace their culture and become one of them in order to not just fit in with the group, but also know that they have to be accepted. The villains, on the other hand, want to impose their will on other cultures, and they do not take the path of trying to adapt. You can see this in the scene where the main villain is trying to, when he's trying to copy what Sully did in the first movie, with trying to take one of the flying mounts, and he does it in a very forceful manner instead of the grace that Sully did it in the first film, learning from the people in order to occupy these mounts. And this scene is reflected again when trying to, with the water mounts. The other theme is the safety found in family, and how family is a stronger connection than a military presence. This is obviously reinforced by how you have the villain who is a military leader, and despite Jake Sully having a military foundation, ultimately he is willing to put his family first and make sacrifices for them instead of having the self-interest of the militaristic villain. This also comes into the play with the character of Spider, who is the kid who is left on Pandora and the child of the main villain, because he is not willing to accept the villain as his father, because his attempts at being a dad feel very forceful and fake, as opposed to Sully, who genuinely wants the betterment for his kids. As far as discussing worldview, Avatar has two pretty obvious worldview statements. The first worldview statement is about nature versus technology. In this, it shows how nature always will end up winning in the end, and that people who tend to win are the ones who embrace nature and embrace trying to be with it and surround it, and they protect nature, and in turn, nature ends up protecting them. When trying to be forceful with nature, nature ends up rejecting you, and it ends up with the villains having to fight a bigger battle than they thought they did, because you're not only taking on the Na'vi, you're also taking on all the other animals that are around them, and those with technology have so little to rely on when they're also facing nature. The last thing I want to discuss as far as the worldview is the anti-imperialism stance that the film takes. Not anti-colonialism, anti-imperialism. There's a bit of a misconception as far as Avatar 2 that it's anti-colonialism because you have the villains occupying an area that doesn't belong to them. But the thing is, if you look at the history of colonialism, when Britain went into the colonies initially, they worked with the people and were trying to work with the people, and they were trying to trade with the people. What you see is more along the lines of imperialism and trying to be that we're better than you and we just want to wipe out anything and build over it. And the worldview of the villains is a more industrialized view that's, we don't want any sort of nature around. We can produce and supply everything through our own technology. And when you look back at the nature, it is the protagonists working with the nature in order to find their own survival while also helping the nature continue to survive. And through that co-oping, that is how the heroes are able to succeed while the villains fail. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and any feedback is appreciated since I'm just starting out. Thanks for watching.